Hi, and thank you so much for joining me for episode 24 of Book of Leaves. This is relatively topical as we're going to be talking about toilet paper and the bidet. And obviously, we're in the midst of the pandemic of the coronavirus at the moment. If you're listening in the future, sorry, I don't mean to bring any PTSD on. But yes, there was obviously some toilet paper shortages, and a lot of zero waste groups that I was in, people were like, oh, I'm going to try the bidet now. So I thought I'd actually be interested in finding out myself which is better, because obviously one is paper made of trees, but the other one uses water. So I thought, let's look into it and find out which is more eco-friendly, better for the environment, and you guys can make up your own mind as to what you'd like to do. Now, I hope you enjoyed last week's episode on Easter, and I hope you had a lovely Easter, and I hope you're all doing well. Again, I'm here in my dressing gown, and I'm now on YouTube. So some of you may have seen on my Instagram or Facebook that I have this white polka dot red dressing gown, and yes, it is fabulous. Thank you everyone. There seem to be a few fans of this dressing gown, so hello. And yeah, I'm in my pajamas as well, so who cares, guys? Who cares? Okay, I want to go into this fairly sharpish because there is a lot to cover. I went down a toilet hole really with research. There's just so much. Okay, so first of all, I wasn't even saying bidet right. I thought it was a bidet. So there's that. But obviously it originated in French, the term bidet. So I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be said, but you don't pronounce the T like I was doing for all my life. And the first time I ever saw a bidet was when I was on holidays. The only ever foreign family holiday we went on was to Rome when I was about 7 or 8, and I thought the bidet in the bathroom was a really small sink for kids to wash their hands in. So that's what I used it for. My mother was horrified and told me no. And I think she told me it was for my bum, and I was just really confused because I couldn't visually see it. How do you get your bits in there to wash them? It doesn't make sense. So I was a very confused child. Yes, I thought it was a sink. So I've learned a lot, and I'm going to teach you guys hopefully a thing or two about the bidet, and of course about our trusty toilet paper, or so we think. So as you can probably smell, oh wait, there's going to be a lot of poo puns in here, you guys. I hope you don't have a queasy stomach. But yeah, toilet paper is not good for the environment. The bidet, fairly sharpish, kind of wins on the eco side of things. So if you don't want to hang around, that's all you need to know, I guess. But I'm going to tell you why. But first, what is the bidet? The definition of a bidet is a bowl or receptacle designed to be sat on for the purpose of washing the human genitalia. Now, that is the bidet as we know. It originated in France in around the early 1700s. The aristocratic community, the wealthy people, didn't want to just be using some metal bowl. They would begin making steel and marble bowls. The word came from, and they started decorating them to make it more visually appealing and make the bathroom experience the nice experience we know it is today for the most part, because previously it really wasn't. There was no nice smells, no nice visuals going on. It was just you go, you do your business, and you get the heck out of there as soon as you can. So they were trying to make it a bit more nice. And basically the word comes from a variation of an old French word apparently for a small horse, like a pony, but a type of horse called a cop that had short, stout legs. And the original bidet is a little standalone wooden, it looks like a footstool nearly, and you straddle it like you would a horse. So that's where the word came from, and that amused me. But of course, variations of the bidet have been around for hundreds, thousands of years, since humans have been pooping, really. Because in, say, the Philippines, they use something called is it the tapo or the tabo? I have it here in front of me somewhere. Yeah, the tabo. And this is like a plastic saucepan that basically they use one hand to hold and the other hand to splash and wash the area. In India, they use the iota. This is a water mug. It looks a bit like a teapot with a sprout. And they use the left hand to wash the area away. You can feel what's going on. There's going to be a lot of me miming washing myself in this episode. So enjoy that for anyone watching this on YouTube. So, the left hand you wash with that, and you pour and maneuver the jug with your right hand, and obviously you wash your hands after with soap very well. But this is why in India, if they do everything with their right hand, they write, eat, and shake hands with their right hand only. And if they see you doing that with your left hand, they think you're pretty gross, because that's the hand you use to wash yourself. So you might be thinking, oh my god, people are washing their bums with their hands directly with just water. What the hell? I mean, they're washing them after, so it's not that bad. And there's still etiquette, if in India they see you using your left hand, they'll be like, she gross. You know what I mean? So there's a bar. Now, what happened to the bidet? Because obviously it's in France. It's all over the place in Italy. There's a couple of countries, I think Italy is one of them, where it's actually required by law to be in every bathroom. There needs to be a bidet. So, and it's kind of like a toilet bowl shape now these days. You can have a separate standalone one, but obviously now we've got the super fancy stuff going on in Japan. This company called Toto, they've got like heated seats, air dryer, it can even check your urine, see if you're sick. Crazy stuff. I've yet to experience one of those toilets. Hopefully one day I will. But let me see. So that's a bit about the history. So yeah, why aren't we using them? Why aren't they a thing in America or the UK or Ireland, or they're not huge in Australia either? This is because, of course, the English thought that French people were really sensual, promiscuous people, and they associated the bidet with that, like a special thing for washing your bits in, like, ew, no thanks. We're fine with the toilet and our cloth and our rags and whatnot. So that sentiment kind of travelled to America as well. And when World War II was happening, the only reason American soldiers would be going into French buildings was when they were visiting lady friends of theirs. So they were seeing bidets in brothels and thought it was, you had to wash your parts because it's a brothel. And that kind of cemented the idea that bidets are just these promiscuous things, and people didn't like talking about poo or pee or sex or anything like that. So they just never really hit it off in America. Only people who later on would be traveling around Europe and go back to America and had a lot of money saw these useful things and were like, let's stick this in the bathroom. So that's why they're not a thing. That's a bit about the history. Also, Napoleon had his personal bidet, which I kind of love. It was silver, which apparently acts as a natural antimicrobacterial thing, and he would bring it everywhere he went. Isn't that just the cutest? Your personal bidet. I love it. So, that is a little bit about the history. Now, excuse me, I want to go on to the history of toilet paper, because obviously we all know how to use toilet paper, or should do anyway. My cat does not. Well, not my cat, my mum's cat does not know how to use it, but toilet paper has been around for a relatively short amount of time. It was only popularized, there we go, around 200 years ago. So obviously before this, what did we use? As you can imagine, pretty much anything. We would use moss, leaves, corn cobs, hay, then, natural materials, rocks even, and then obviously paper began to come into play. Before paper, actually, if you were really wealthy, you would be reusing wool or a sponge on a long stick. That's what the posh people and the royals used to have. So they were actually reusing stuff, and they get nice and wet and scrub down there, and they would reuse it and wash it and whatnot. So that's what the posh people did. And then, of course, books and paper started coming around. And when printing presses were more available and books weren't as valuable and catalogs and things were popular, then that's when people started using paper. And there's, I think it's called a Sears catalogue in America, that apparently was so widely used for toilet paper that they started like perforating the pages so people could tear them out easier, which I just think is kind of fab. So that real newspaper and paper was used to wipe. So then this chap in 1857, I didn't take his name down, he released the first toilet paper, and it was aloe kind of sheets, aloe vera scented tissue sheets in like a Kleenex box, so it wasn't on the roll yet. And he started selling that. That was the first ever packaged toilet paper. But everyone, this was in America, and people were like, why would I buy something that I can get for free, like this catalogue? So it didn't really pick up. It wasn't a big deal. And people were also really shy. They didn't want to talk about, they didn't want to go in and be like, can I have this toilet paper? Because they didn't want anyone to know what they were doing, which is hilarious because we all know what every human does. So, but people were very kind of prudish, didn't want to tell anyone about their business, and it was very embarrassing to admit to a shopkeeper that, yeah, you poop or whatever. So that was in 1857 that the first packaged toilet paper came out. Then it was, 1890 when the toilet roll appeared, and that seemed to grab people's attention, I guess because it's on a roll, it was more fun or something. But they also changed the marketing a little bit to make it less about just bums and poop and whatever. It was, they used, soft imagery. They used bears, they would use cuddly bears, and they would use women to kind of represent softness and kind of just ignore the like dirty stuff going on. So that kind of helped a little bit. But think of this, guys, right? That was in 1890. Splinter free toilet paper was advertised in 1935. That's how new this is. Just splinter free. So yeah. So I don't even really want to dwell on that much longer. I just had to throw that in there. So it is new, okay? Toilet paper is very new. And some people wonder what, like, was it just that it was on a fun roll? Is that the only reason? A lot of people were using water as well sometimes, but water is really cold, they didn't have warm water, and that's kind of uncomfortable, whereas toilet paper is room temperature, I guess, so they didn't have that kind of problem. But and obviously before toilet paper, rags and reusable cloths and whatnot were fairly common as well. So that's kind of the history of toilet paper. It's really, really new, you guys. And then obviously as the years go on, we're using more and more soft, cuddly things to advertise it, like puppies and pandas and whatnot. So, and it's become quite luxury, and it's always soft, and there's no splinters, thank God. But pros and cons. Okay, first of all, I'm going to do the pros and cons of toilet paper because there's a lot. So, well, a lot of cons, unfortunately. Pros, I was struggling to come up with that many pros in my research. Let's see. Okay. It's what we know, so we're kind of used to it. It's comfortable. That's that point. Then we can see what we're doing, I guess. Water, you can't really see. Tissue, you're there, you use it, you take it away, you can see, oh yeah, what's going on, and you go back for take 2, take 3, however many takes you need. So you can kind of see what's going on. It's soft, so it's never cold. Some bidets, when you're washing yourself with water, you will get cold water on your bits, and that can't always feel very nice. And of course we use toilet paper for other things, Halloween costumes, dressing as a mummy, TPing people's houses. Do people still do that? Cats like to play with it, your toddlers like to play with it. So, environmentally, there's no real pros other than recycled paper does exist. More on that later. The cons of toilet paper. So today, I'm just going to get into this. There's no prep, guys. There's 27,000 trees being cut down every day for toilet paper. That's a worldwide figure, 27,000 trees every day. It accounts for 15% of deforestation. So it's a sizable chunk. Just under 1 billion trees a year are cut down. And unfortunately, a huge chunk of this, depending on what country you're in, 35 to 50%, is actually being cut down from virgin forests and old growth forests, the trees that are 100, 200 years old sometimes. They're being cut down for toilet paper, as opposed to tree farms being used all of the time, where that obviously has its own issues, because in an established forest where the trees are hundreds of years old, there's species, flowers and fauna and wildlife that have settled there. That's their home. Also indigenous communities as well. And all of a sudden, governments and corporations are coming in and cutting down these trees. And the reason they're popular, there's still a market for this as opposed to just tree farms and recycled tissue paper, is because the fibres in virgin trees, they're called in the industry, are longer, and therefore when they're processed they can be like spread out and made softer. So basically trees, as opposed to recycled material and recycled fibre and or bamboo or hemp, trees have these really long fibres that can be softened in the paper really easy. So it's those luxury, real soft brands, and they always are coming from trees. There's no recycled material or anything in them. And that just makes me really sad as well, to think that there's a tree that's 250 years old. It's seen so much. It's given us oxygen. They're a carbon sink for us. They take so much carbon out of the air. They support wildlife. And we cut them down and use them for 3 seconds with our poop and then flush them down the toilet. So that is an unfortunate thing when it comes to trees. Now, as well, there's also a fair bit of waste. You know, people use a lot of it. And there's also the cardboard tube in the middle. There is 1 million miles of cardboard tubing is thrown out every year. The cardboard tubes. Like, it is a waste. There was a company who came out with this new, look at our tubeless toilet roll. We're so amazing. Oh my God. What the hell? Like, you really don't need that. I mean, I just have always recycled them, going, oh yeah, that's great, it's being recycled. But a lot of the time, that's actually virgin wood going in there. Like, that's just nuts. So it's not just the toilet paper, the little roll in the middle as well. So water obviously is going to be a big factor in this. And just this week I watched a very eye-opening documentary, and I would recommend that you watch this. I'll link it everywhere it needs to be linked. It's on Netflix. It's the Explained series, and they go into different topics. They've got one on diamonds explained, one on music, and there's one on the world's water supply. And this blew my mind. I never really understood how, me personally, I knew, you know, all my environmentalist friends, water is precious, and I'm aware that there's droughts in certain areas, but I didn't know actually how bad it is and how much we are using up of our underground reserves that take millions of years to fill up. And we're really, oh my God, we're really using a lot of them, and we're not advanced in taking salt water and turning that into fresh water yet. We're not doing it as fast or as efficiently as we need to keep up with the demand that we have on our water supply. 1% of Earth is fresh water. It's an amazing documentary. It is a bit scary, but if you want to know, okay, what is the price of water? Well, first of all, there's no price on it, but there really should be. It's liquid gold. It should be worth more than petrol, and we're just doing so much. But I might do another episode on that. But there's a lot of water being used for these trees, obviously, for the toilet paper industry, a single roll of toilet paper needs 37 gallons of water or 140 litres. One single roll of toilet paper. That's a bit nuts, okay? So it takes in a lot. Then energy-wise, 1.3 kilowatts of electricity is used to make a single roll and around 1.5 pounds of wood. So there's a lot of energy taken to make trees. Then there's a whole other side of things that I never even thought about. Chlorine, bleaching, okay? Bleaching has a huge effect on the environment, and it's done all of the time to... chlorine is used all the time to make it softer again, and for the appearance, to make it nice and white. You know, everyone wants it clean, crisp, white. So there is a lot. There's 67 billion gallons of chemicals used worldwide every year for bleaching, and a lot of these end up where? In our environment, in the water, in the food we eat. Okay, so that's around 253 billion litres as well, for anyone who is like me, not thinking in the gallon mind. So that can also affect our health as well. And recycled paper, that is a pro. That uses significantly less water and less energy, so that is your best toilet paper option. But toilet paper is really heavy on the environment. And as well, what's nuts, in the US now, the US is the biggest consumer of toilet paper. Around 5% of people at home are using recycled paper. People aren't buying it in their homes that much. They're buying the soft, luxurious, quilted, well, my gosh, make all your dreams come true toilet paper. And when you go out, businesses, cinemas, hotels, cafes, they're the ones buying these industrial recycled toilet paper. And people don't really notice the difference. So when you go out, you're using recycled toilet paper. When you're at home, you're using the fancy stuff. It doesn't really make a difference. You know, try not buy the fancy soft stuff because it's taken its toll on the environment. So unfortunately, those are the cons of toilet paper. There is a lot, okay? Let's go on to the pros and cons of the bidet. The cons, it can be confusing. What is it? I don't know what this thing is. It's new to me. It's scary. Okay, that I guess would be a con to me. And as well, the water can be very cold, and if it's the middle of the night, or hey, who wants cold water, you know, flying at their bits? Not a lot of people, I imagine. So those are some bidet cons. They can be expensive, you know, as opposed to some rolls of toilet paper, which are obviously you can get for very cheap. And yeah, you can get portable ones, but that's something that you need to carry around with you, and they actually look like water bottles sometimes. So be careful, I guess, you don't confuse the two. But there is a few cons there. It's an investment that you want to make. The pros, okay. The bidet. There's several types of bidets as well. Hold on. I've got to see this episode made me feel so bad about the paper that I'm using as well to write my notes on, because it just made me more aware of paper use, I guess. And I've just got scraps of paper everywhere. I'm using all sides of quiz paper and everything. Where's my bidet so far? Here we go. So how much water does a bidet use in comparison to toilet paper? Not a lot. On average, when we flush a toilet, we're flushing around 4 gallons of water down, which is a lot. On average, when we use a bidet, we're using 1/8 of a gallon, which is around the same, which is half a litre. And that is around the same amount of water that we actually use when we're brushing our teeth. So we use less than I would have thought. Obviously, it's extra water on top of the flushing that's going to be happening, but it's half a litre most of the time. It's a quick high pressure burst. That's what's going on. So it is significantly less water than toilet paper. Fact number 1. Fact number 2, or pro number 2, whatever, there is no trees involved in the cut down. Obviously, there's manufacturing energy, which I actually couldn't find stats on, but as an investment, you are preventing the cut down of a lot of trees. I'll give you the specific what you will be saving at the end of this list. So let's see. Another con of toilet paper that I forgot to say. It's going back to toilet paper, it also leads to blockages of sewers and whatnot. You're putting toilet paper down the toilet and it adds a cost to your governments and your local councils clearing the sewer when blockages and things happen. So that's something that I wouldn't even think about. That's an added cost to the taxpayer that is because of toilet paper, because it doesn't always break down, especially this goddamn luxury stuff. God, sorry, that was just a burst of anger. So less water is used for bidets, significantly less trees being cut down. So those are the pros. And energy wise, sometimes they don't take electricity when you use them at all. It's just they're lower in every way. Now, do they clean you better? Yes, they do. Okay, you might think this is weird, but when you think about it, if you are going outside and you're playing sport, you get covered in muck or you step in poo and you're bare feet or something, you don't go inside, get some kitchen paper or toilet paper, roll it up and rub it off. You don't do that. You have a shower, you use water, you use soap. When you buy vegetables or fruit in the supermarket, you bring them home, you don't wipe them with the tea towel if you want to wash them. You wash them with water. So why? This blew my mind. When I read that online, I was like, oh my God, ew, yeah, what have I been doing all this time? So there's a little penny for your thoughts, right? They do clean you better. They also can help with health issues, right? I'll link this in the show notes. I won't go into it all here, but if you have, I don't want to make people feel like super gross listening to this, but we all knew what we were getting into, guys. This is poo talk. But if you have IBS, if you have ulcers, prolapse, there's a lot of things going on that bidet will actually help with. It is a less aggravating system than toilet paper, because toilet paper you need to really get in there because it's dry paper. So yes, they do clean you better. They also have health benefits, and I will link that. So I'm just going to look on this one, this piece of paper. Okay, so they're kind of better all around. Now what options are there out there? There's a lot of bidets at the moment. How do people use them? Most of the time they're hands-free, and this is another thing when it came to health as well. 80% of infectious diseases are passed from hand to hand touch, and half of humans do not wash their hands after going to the toilet, which is a crazy number. So by people having a hands-free toilet experience, that infectious disease spread reduces a whole lot. They are hands-free. How? Obviously, if you're in places where they're just using a little tub or something, yeah, you might use your hand to get in there. That's fine. You wash it after. You're fine with soap. Anyone who has a baby is probably fine with poo or has raised a baby. What is it about our own poo, adult poo? We kind of treat it differently, but it's all poop. And obviously we don't want to mix it because that's how disease are created. But at the same time, if it gets in our clothes or our hands, we wash it, you know what I mean? Also, another pro of toilet paper, or con of toilet paper, sorry for getting your hopes up, it tears easy. So if you're trying to be frugal or save paper, sometimes it tears and then you get poop on your finger. So that doesn't happen with a bidet. Because bidets are hands free, it can happen with like the Tabo or the Iota, obviously, because you're using your hand. But the bidet, so you can get so many different forms. You have the kind of traditional standalone one that used to be just filled with water, but now the water shoots up from the middle, and Vascó has, from Core Crafts, I asked some people to like send me their experiences with bidet, and Vascó sent me a little video, so anyone watching on YouTube will see that. And people not on YouTube, you can imagine it with your eyes, that basically it's water that shoots up. So basically you turn a tap on, you're sitting there, you turn the tap on, the water shoots up, and apparently people can't help laugh and giggle when they're not used to it, and it cleans you that way. You pat dry and you're done, or you use a little bit of toilet paper to wipe dry and you're done. But you use 80% less toilet paper when you have a bidet. You can get a little extra kind of section that you hook on to the back of your toilet seat, and the little nozzle hangs down, and then you turn it on and it like comes up and squirts into your bum. And those are fairly cheap as well. They start from like 40 to 50 euro, and you can install them yourself, and they don't take that much, and you're using the same water that you would be using to wash your hands there. It's not toilet bowl water. That's what the bidet.org, you get a lot of information there. Of course, some of it was biased, so I was checking all the sources. So you can get that. You can also get a bum gun. I love this. It's like a shower nozzle, and it hangs beside the toilet, and you grab that and you maneuver it. Obviously you can move it around easier, and you bum gun spray your butt. Now obviously with the bidet, what I found from people who were using them for the first time, you might need to maneuver yourself on the seat to get into the right position. But that's a very minor thing. So you also, that's the add-on bidet. You have portable bidets. So like I mentioned, some of them look like a water bottle with this nozzle, and you squeeze and they shoot up. Some you can obviously just use like a bowl or anything, but you can also make your own portable one with a squeezy ketchup bottle. Obviously clean it first and sanitize it, or energy drink, you know, those bottles where as a kid you just squirt them into your friend's face because they spray air very effectively and water very effectively. Those are good enough to use in the meantime if you're thinking, do you know what, I might be getting a bidet soon. So you can get these add-on ones. You can obviously then buy a separate toilet seat. These are more expensive. You're looking at a couple of €100 up to a couple of grand for the really fancy ones. But these toilet seats that you sit on, they can be heated, they blow air to dry you as well. Some of the cheaper ones actually can do that as well, dry you, so you don't need to touch yourself at all. And yeah, there's a few options out there. You know, you can invest in a super duper fancy one as well, and obviously the toilets. So what else is there? Oh yeah, and another little thing that I love is the patent for the original bidet nozzle that is popular now was created by a guy called John Harvey Kellogg, who is the brother of the guy who invented cornflakes. And he was a doctor, so he kind of knew what he was doing, except he was anti-masturbation. And yeah, so basically there's no arousal pleasure apparently to be gained from this bidet nozzle. And cornflakes were originally invented to be opposite of an aphrodisiac, which I didn't know. Isn't that crazy? But yes, I fell down a very deep research toilet bowl hole. So those are the types. Let me see. Yeah, and you can get them like literally 70 quid. You can get a fairly good one in Ireland even. They're here, guys. You just don't know about them. Now, what are we afraid of? I don't really know, you guys. I think we're afraid of something new. We're afraid of cold water. We're afraid of making a mess, something spraying, but it doesn't happen, apparently, from people that I've talked to. If we're afraid of touching poop, you end up touching poop when you're using toilet paper anyway. So yeah, and if you're thinking, you know what, flushable wipes, wet wipes, no, just no, okay? Flushable wipes, they say biodegradable. Nearly everything is biodegradable. Biodegradable means it can break up into like loads of little pieces, and there's all these flushable wipes coming out there marketing themselves as we break up as soon as we're flushed, and they're not. They're being found in sewage systems. So please do not use flushable wipes. Tell your friends, tell your family, if you see them using flushable wipes, just tell them not to, because they really don't make difference. And a lot of the time it's plastic as well, and that's breaking up and breaking down. Obviously, if you have to, but really sparingly, and maybe just put them in the bin instead. Like, check what it's made of, because if it's plastic, that's just going into the water system. I also love how some sites refer to this as our carbon buttprint instead of footprint. Anyway, I found that enjoyable. So I think that's pretty much like the gist of what I have. I'm going to show you, or listen you, I don't know, a little clip from Vascó, who sent in his experience with a bidet. Vascó was from my very first episode of this podcast. He runs a company called Core Crafts, which I'll tell you a little bit about after, but he sent in this little clip, so I'm going to play this for you now.
Hi Cara, so bidets. The long, hard struggle of the immigrant in Ireland to get a proper bidet. It has been very tough 9 years living in Ireland without a bidet, until I finally got one. Look at this magnificent piece of architecture. Look at this. You turn on the water, it comes through here, look. No, wait. There you go, look at that. But even better, look, I'm gonna use the other one, it might be quicker. You turn this, that, and woo, look at that. Amazing. I never had seen something like this. I think you can make more. Yeah, it's getting too much. Almost hit the phone. Woo! Quite amazing. Well, yeah, so turn this off. So this invention, as you know, is from the French, and in Portugal, Spain, Italy, I've seen everyone has one of these. Now, I never actually quite thought of how useful it is until, I actually moved into Ireland, and the first night I get into the hotel and I look, oh, there's no bidet. It's like that kind of thing that you always have, and you use it, and you're like, oh, it's like imagining getting into, inside a room and in a hotel, and like, oh, there's no toilet. It's exactly the same feeling. So what is this used for? Basically, you know what it is used for, and it's quite easier to use if you have water. Of course, it's easier to use with water and then actually spending toilet paper. So yeah, I was quite surprised to see this here. When we moved in here, I moved here like a month ago. We were moving the stuff inside, and Tina, my partner, she goes, oh look, it has a bidet. And I look, oh look, it is a bidet, because I had completely erased that from my mind after 9 years in Ireland. And then, oh, cool. So yeah, now I'm using it mostly every day. This is quite handy. Like, it's way more handy than toilet paper. And of course, it's, you're not wasting paper on this, There's also a funny story. I'm almost running out of time on the phone. Also a very funny story. We were in Bantry Market, and there's this girl selling sustainable goods, and she was trying to sell her recycled paper to a British woman that she lives in Ireland for a long time. Oh, but you need to use the recycled paper because it's better. And she just says, I don't use toilet paper. And we were both like, what? And then she explains, yeah, I live in a cabin in the woods, and I just use the stream. I don't even have a toilet. I go to the stream and use a small piece of, a towel that I clean every day, and that's it. Toilet paper is not that essential.
The man makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Vascó, for sending that in. And yeah, if anyone wants to support Core Crafts, he is taking vouchers at the moment if you want to buy yourself an amazing cork product. and check out episode 1 to hear about why and how they are more eco-friendly than alternatives like leather. So thank you, Vascó, for that experience. Now, there's also another lady called Cecilia who volunteered when I posted into the Zero Waste Ireland Facebook group to send me in a little bit about how she uses it, because I don't use a bidet at the moment. So I wanted to give you guys real human experiences. So here's Cecilia.
Okay, so what I do is at this point in time, I use for a number one family cloth. It's only me in the family, not the rest of the family. And I simply made that cutting up some old clothes, soft cotton, like 100% cotton clothes. Then instead of a bidet, and I grew up in Italy, so a country where bidets are everywhere, and I really missed it. So I simply make do like when I was camping with a jug of water with a spout on the handle. I fill it up and then I wash myself and then I dry myself. And then I wash my hands really well. That goes fairly well in these days. So that's nothing more, nothing less to it. It's I suppose the advantages of having a small bathroom means I don't really need to move. I have everything at hand, so it's not messy and it's not complex at all. And then I also think it all much depends on the level of yuck that you can tolerate, whether you clean yourself first or not. And there is levels. There is levels, and that's a personal then choice. I I'll probably clean a bit first and then wash, but that's it.
There you go. So there are some experiences of people, real life people, using the bidet, and it's just normal to them. So that's really great. I, in the future of my life, see myself getting a bidet, one of those little, I can't afford a big fancy one now, but in future getting a little install one on the toilet. And in the meantime, okay, so if you're not convinced, if you are not a bidet convertee yet, that's okay. I want to give you some options. If you're just terrified or it's just not going to work out for you, that's all right. Oh wait, before I get there, so if you do switch to a bidet in Ireland in 2020, we are predicted to use 10.5 kg of toilet paper per capita, per population member. Okay, per person, basically. Why do I have to complicate things? I don't know. So 10.5 kg of toilet paper. So if we average out each roll to be 90 grams, which is what this statistic site did. Statistic. How's quarantine treating everyone, huh? This is my brain. So this is what the site did. I'm not coming up with this. I just trust them. That is around 116 rolls per person a year of toilet paper. So if we switched to bidet, we would save up to 4,292 gallons of water. We would be saving 150.8 kilowatts of energy and 174 pounds of wood, which adds up to a fair few trees. And so much water we would be saving. Now that is if you're able to erase your use of toilet paper completely. People can use a little bit to pat themselves dry, but they usually would be using 80% less. And as well as that, you can use cloths, you can use little towels to pat yourself dry to avoid the toilet paper completely if you get the bidet. Now, if you're thinking, Cara, I've heard your case, whatever, shut up, it's not for me. Okay, in the meantime, what can I do? Obviously, if you feel you can reuse cloths, cut up a nice soft t-shirt like you heard Cecilia did, and use that. You can wash them the same as parents who are using cloth nappies, which are coming back. They're doing that. You just stick them in the wash, 60 degrees, 40 degrees even. People actually wash them in cold water to save. It's just a bit of detergent, a bit of soap, a bit of eco-friendly soap is all you need. You can wash them, and you can have a little separate wet bag, like a nappy bag that you put them in the bathroom so there's no smell or anything, and that is an option. You can also buy recycled tissue paper. That is the best thing that you can do. If tissue paper is going to be staying in your life, and even if you get a bidet and you want it there for the guests or to dry yourself with, if you haven't got a dryer bidet, then buy recycled if you can. Buy bamboo and buy hemp. They need significantly less water. There's less trees cut down, and they're a better alternative. You can get brands out there like the Cheeky Panda. They're bamboo and bleach free. Look for bleach free brands as well. And you can get Eco Natural, Eco Leaf. There's also an Australian company called Who Gives a Crap. Excellent marketing. They actually as well donate 50% of their profits to building toilets in places that need them, which is really cool. And their toilet paper is bamboo and recycled. So Tesco as well have a recycled range. So there's these brands out there. You can order some of them directly from their website. You can also get them from some Irish businesses like Reusey. They've got an online shop, Pat, who I interview in episode 5, I think. And you've also got Down to Earth Materials and earthmother.ie and Little Green Shop. So these are Irish websites that you can order eco-friendly toilet paper from. You can also buy directly from Cheeky Panda. You can buy directly from Who Gives a Crap. But at the moment, they're all having shortage issues because people went a bit nuts in coronavirus. And as well, when I heard how much toilet paper we use, I was thinking, really? And trying to find data for Ireland is hard. But there's an article about the coronavirus. This one company in Dublin, we actually have 2 toilet paper manufacturers in Ireland, the rest we import, and one of them in Dublin was struggling to meet demand, and they produce they're at capacity at the moment. They produce 50,000 toilet rolls an hour, working 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and they were struggling to meet demand. That is nuts. So there is a lot of toilet options. Oh, bidet brands as well to look out for. BioRelief, Toto, they're the fancy Japanese ones. And there's a brand called Tushy. They seem to be very popular. There's also the Blue Bidet, which is fairly popular. You can order these online, and there's Irish retailers that have them as well. Get them delivered and have a little project. Set it up at home. Get the whole family to try. Have a little little bum fun. Okay, keep it PG. So, yeah, in the meantime, what else can we do? Where's my other piece of paper? Okay, I think you know what's coming. Avoid soft, luxury, 4-ply, we will fix your life toilet paper. And talk to your family. If every time you go to your granny and granddad's house, they've got the luxury stuff, say, hey, this one is actually better for the environment. You know, that's what this podcast is all about, is like spreading awareness. And I know a lot of the time I'm preaching to the choir, and you guys are on the same wavelength as me, but we have to have conversations with people in our lives. That's how it makes a difference. The ripple effect, you know. So there is a symbol as well, the FSC symbol. So this is the Forest Sustainable Certificate, something like that apparently you want to look for, because they promote sustainable practices on their farms, which is good, on their tree farms. But at the same time, they're also cutting down virgin forests. So really just try buy sustainable when you can. And if you see FSC mixed on your toilet paper, then, or your kitchen roll, that means there's definitely virgin wood in there, possibly mixed in with recycled wood as well, but it's definitely virgin wood. So try avoid virgin wood, avoid the soft stuff, avoid bleached as well. I think that's everything. In future, I'm actually going to stop writing my notes on pieces of paper because I feel so guilty. I'm going to use my laptop instead because I can and I should. So I'm sorry to the trees that it's been too late for. There's a lot of holes in research that I fell down, but I hope you guys learned something there. So which is better for the environment? The bidet kind of wins, but obviously if you want to go for toilet paper, still support the sustainable brands, the brands that are literally giving a crap about the environment. Hey, thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have any requests or feedback, please do let me know. You can email me email me. You can email me. You can get in contact via Instagram or Facebook or on Twitter. And of course, I'm now on YouTube, so you can let me know in the comments. Please subscribe to this podcast and this channel and rate and review. I'm asking you to do a lot, I know. And if you would like to support this podcast, you can buy me a coffee on Patreon. You can donate once off or make a regular €1, €2, €4 subscription. It will be greatly appreciated. These are tough times for a lot of people, I know, so only if you can, and if you want to help with the costs of this, the website hosting and podcast hosting fees, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much in advance. Hope you're all staying safe, look after each other, and let me know how your bum gets on in your future bidet adventures. Okay, go on. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.